One thing, to give every president the ability to choose three.
Every president gets 3 justices. Keep in mind that for a century and a half, the court has been limited to 9 justices. And by the way, it's worked just fine. Some of the court's decisions have been wise. Others have been misguided. Some have been appalling. But Americans still generally trust that the court is a real institution. It's on the level. And that trust in the court and other institutions keeps this country stable. Would the public still have trust in the court once it becomes an arm of the Democratic Party? Well, the feeling is, who cares what they think? How people feel is not a concern for the Democratic Party right now. They want their power back now and forever. And that's why you're hearing calls to abolish the Electoral College. State by state, Democrats have already been working to circumvent electors and award the presidency to the winner of the national popular vote. Democratic presidential candidates strongly approve.
Getting rid of the Electoral College, is that an idea that you support?
I think there's a lot to that because you had an election in 2016 where the loser got 3 million more votes than the victor. So I think there's a lot of wisdom in that.
We can have national voting, and that means get rid of the Electoral College and everybody.
In fact, the Electoral College does not favor one party or other and hasn't in history. In 2012, for example, it favored the Democrats. If that election had been tied in the popular vote, Barack Obama still would have won. The Electoral College keeps the country from becoming a colony of California, Chicago, and New York. It demonstrates that America is a union of equal states, not a collection of provinces that revolve around a few powerful cities. The Electoral College also discourages the rise of factional parties that dominate only a small portion of the country. We could go on. But the best argument for keeping the Electoral College is pretty simple. For 230 years, it has worked better than any other country's systems in history. But because it didn't help the left win a presidential election 2 years ago, they want it gone forever. And along with it, any restrictions at all on who can vote. Violent felons, illegal aliens, even children. That's the new Democratic coalition, whatever it takes.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, when they're interested in all of this, when they're learning about government, to be able to vote.
The Supreme Court, the Electoral College, voting restricted to citizens, burned it all down. What else stands in the way of the left's quest for power? Well, let's see. How about the Senate? Left-wing intellectuals are already arguing the Senate should be abolished. The border? Well, the left is already telling us it's immoral to defend our border. The First and Second Amendments, they hate those. They're speed bumps on the way to total control. They're relics of a lesson late in time. Our newly packed Supreme Court could get rid of them, and maybe they will. But keep in mind, once your institutions have disappeared, it's nearly impossible to rebuild them. Chris Hahn is a radio host and a former staffer to Chuck Schumer of the United States Senate. He joins us tonight. Chris,